this love that I'm feeling? Oh, wait, no. Uh-oh, it's magic. No, come on, hang on. Has fiction found its perfect chocolate and peanut butter accidental combination? What is Romantasy? Why has it taken the readership by storm? We've gathered a group of wonderful Romantasy authors to discuss. Then, myself, Joe Compton, is along with another indie film connection if you're a fan of The Princess Bride, a film done by Rob Reiner. Finally, in the epilogue, in 20 questions, the panels will try to guess which literary identity I've become. So let's cast the spell of love in the chat and get ready for This Week in Indies with your host, Joe Compton. Yeah, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, however you are. We really appreciate it that you're here. So thanks for joining us. We've got a wonderful show, we've got a wonderful group, I got a wonderful chat, and I can't wait to get into Romantasy with this wonderful group of people that we have here. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Hello. Good afternoon. All right, let's go down the line and say hello, and then we'll get to chatting about Romantasy and all the fun things about it. So I'm just gonna go down the line. So Tiffany, start us off, please.
Hi guys, I'm Tiffany Vega. You can find me at booksbytiffanyvega.com or outsiderpublishingcompany.com, which I am co-owner of. And since we are talking about romance and fantasy, fantasy, you can check out my my series, Yord's Curse. There we go.
Awesome. All right,
Hi, I'm Em Rees, the author of The Oracle's Journey duet. It's currently available on Amazon and bookshop.org and Audible, iTunes, all that.
Nice. Welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's nice to be
excited
here.
about this. So glad you're here. All right, CL.
Hey, I am CL Cannon, aka Courtney Cannon. Do a lot of things on Go Indie now. I sometimes write fantasy and sci-fi, sometimes romantasy, and I'm excited to talk about it today.
Awesome. No mom boss. I can't see the mom boss.
No, it's way up there now.
All right. Ariel?
Hi, I'm Ariel Dawn. I write primarily paranormal romance, monster romance, best known for my Monsters of Ashwood series. Dabble in a little bit of all genres, including romantasy. So I'm really excited to talk about that today.
Is that an American Pie poster behind you?
It is.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before. Just it's sticking out like a sore thumb today. But
I know, today it is.
That's funny. All right, AJ.
I'm AJ. I write all kinds of romance, including romantasy. I can be found at ajmullican.com, on Amazon, all the things. And it's great to be here and with a couple of friends of mine here, too, that I kind of wanted to come in and go indie.
Nice. We appreciate that. And I noticed that your shelf is kind of leaning. You got so many damn books. You're about to break your shelf. You know that? It's crazy.
One, right?
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. All right. So help me out here. What are these days? You know, romantasy is kind of been coined as a phrase, as a trope, and then you get people who have been fighting online about the fact that romance and fantasy and romantasy are two different things, or romance and fantasy and whatever. However, it's all verbiage at this point. But I'm curious what you define as romantasy. What is romantasy truly to you? Because that's what I want to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wants
to me, since we're all like, oh, let's wait for someone else to. To me, since it's kind of a mashup genre, but it's also it's a subgenre of both. So it's got fantasy elements, not the modern world, you know, maybe magic and mystery and things like that. But it's also got the romance. It's got the main story of the characters getting together, falling in love, and their journey through that. So I think it deserves its own little place in the literary world. I think, yeah, people don't like when you mash up terms, like romantasy is a mashup term, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a legitimate subgenre. I don't think.
I would agree that the main point of the story is that it's a romance, but it is based in a fantasy world. It's not our modern world, and it has all the fantasy. Whether it be things about gods or witches or vampires. It has some kind of fantasy element. Elves, woodland creatures. It's fantasy.
I think from
You ahead.
okay. I was gonna say, kind of jumping on that, I kind of feel like as a person who likes to match up genres, right? I tend to kind of fuse things together a lot. There is definitely, I feel like it is its own genre, but at the same time, obviously it borrows elements from both of fantasy and romance. And for me, at least, Romantasy the romance is the main plot. Where the fantasy elements highlight the romance. And I know that, that can kind of go either way on the scale, but for me, the romance is more the center of the plot and the fantasy is more.
I mean, in fantasy in general, there do tend to be a lot of romantic subplots, and so it's not unheard of to blend the two. I mean, I think that, there's even been romantasy books out there even before the term became popular. And I personally I liked all those stories that had the romance in it, but it was never enough. So I'm really glad to see that there are that's being more popular, so that there's more options. You have to have at least 50-50 romance fantasy in my mind. And, you have to have that happy ending,
Courtney?
I agree with what most of you guys say. It's definitely romance. Romance is the main plot line, and then your fantasy is, in the background a little bit. It's the same world. It's in its fantasy setting, but our main goal is getting the characters together and the tension and the build up and all of those things that make us swoon and be such a fan of romance in the first place, but in a fantasy setting.
I just wanted to mention that Anita's here and Sandra's here. Hello, everybody. Okay, so forgive me because one, I just woke up and I'm hungry. Two, I just find it kind of the same analogy, right? But there's a weird quote by one of the people who first kind of put the Reese's peanut butter cup out there, talking about the hardest thing to do with this was to balance the two elements together and have enough chocolate for chocolate lovers and enough peanut butter for peanut butter lovers. Is that the challenge with romantasy versus if it was a fantasy with romance or a romance with fantasy? Is that the true challenge? Is to make it balanced and make it this equal across the board, or is it something else that challenges the differences between the distinctions?
I think it is challenging because because fantasy is such a confliction, a genre full of conflict. It's not just fairies and butterflies and shit like that. It's also wars between tribal cultures or vast epic. Depending on how big you want your fantasy element to go. There's often a lot of conflict, which makes the romance part a little hard to weave in sometimes, because you want that happy ending, but at the same time, it's like, well, there's got to be enough conflict to satisfy the fantasy readers as well. So you've got to kind of mush them together and weave them in a way that it works, while still having, those cute little moments where they first kiss or whatever, weaving those into these other big dramatic climax, dramatic conflict moments.
I think the challenge, at least for me, is that even though Romantasy itself is somewhat of a niche genre, it's a very large genre. So, and it's kind of blown up, right? So there's the challenge, I think, is meeting the reader expectations. But because the genre itself is so large, those expectations really kind of differ whether people are looking for more of fantasy or they're looking for more of a romance, or does this particular story that I've written fit in the genre of romantasy. For instance, I'll bring up Stormbringer, which you can see alongside here. I do consider it romantasy. It is more of an urban romantasy with sci-fi elements and fantasy elements, and to some that may not fit nichely into the genre, but because it's so wide, to somebody else it may. So I think the challenge, at least for me, is just kind of knowing those reader expectations of what romantasy as a larger genre is.
I think I would agree with Ariel, because mine is more of a dark romantasy, because they don't necessarily get their happy ending. So I think that it is such a large net that you can catch a whole bunch of different subgenres, and there's a piece for everybody who likes a romantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to find your audience, I think, is the hardest part, because there are some people that, like you said, that do want more of the fantasy, and then there's some that just want like the romance is just set in a fantasy setting. And without being able to narrow it down further than just romantasy, it's kind of hard to find a place.
I agree with all of you. I think it's really one of the hardest things in marketing in general is making sure you find the right audience. And with such a wide array of people, there are some people, like you said, who want more romance, some who want more fantasy, and there's different heat levels that people enjoy, but it's all under the same romantasy like subgenre, so it can be really difficult to find the right people.
All right, Courtney, I'm going to start with you. You with this question. I'm curious. So are there rules to romantasy? Are there certain things that romantasy has to have for it to be classified as romantasy?
Oh, why did you start with me, Joe? I don't. I'm a rule breaker. I don't consider that. I don't consider there to be set rules, because a lot of people say in romance you have to have a happy ending. I'm a person who likes to break people's hearts and likes to leave it on a cliffhanger, likes to leave it kind of angsty. So I think it's more subjective. I don't think that you can put fiction and any writing really is art, and art is subjective. It really depends, I guess, on the reader.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. You can't say there has to be swords in this for it to be a fantasy and then be a romantasy, and you can't say there has to be a male-female couple. Like mine's lesbian romantasy, so there's like there's a gay couple, a male couple that's a side character couple, so there's that. Mm-hmm. But there's no like you can't just pinpoint XYZ has to go in this to be a romantasy. It's too nebulous, I think, mm-hmm. to really just kind of like put the little thumbtacks on the wall with this is the point that makes it romantasy, and this is the point that makes it the X, Y, and Z. It's too hard to nail down.
Some of that could be too because fantasy in general is supposed to be fantastical, and you're supposed to pull out new things that people haven't read before. So I mean, if you're focusing more on fantasy in some ways, it's going to make the other side of the story a little difficult to pin down too. I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. I think ultimately, as long as you kind of get to your happily ever after or happy for now by the end of the story, no matter how many books it takes to get there, that That's really my only rule for romance.
And of course, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go. You go.
So of course, I'm a rebel. Like my tagline on my websites are "I'm the rebel of the written word." So I don't really follow like the rule of happy ending, and I love my dark endings. I think it's like real world stuff. Not everybody gets a happy ending, so that's like for me. Like I like reading the romanticies that are more dark ending.
I was just going to say, I think, at least with romantasy, because I do dabble in a lot of genres. I'm sure a lot of us do. So in comparison to other genres, I do think it has a little bit more fluidity of what is accepted into that, very niche, but very large net, right? So I think in terms of what is, like a rule or what is expected, is the fantasy world, the romance being a main plot. And you have, if you break it down a little bit more, you have the more common tropes like enemies to lovers or things like that, that are very much, ingrained in, in the genre itself. But broken down beneath that, because it's such a wide net, there's a lot more room to play. So I don't want to say that I think that there are rules, but I think there are less expectations in romantasy than I think there are in like monster romance or paranormal romance or something like that.
We like to call them guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Say that again, AJ. I'm sorry.
We like to call them guidelines.
Guidelines, yeah.
All right, you rule breakers. I'm curious. You were mentioning how hard it is to market it. Is it even harder because people want to label things romantasy that aren't romantasy? That's what I'm thinking about when I ask that question. Is because it is such a hot genre right now, right? It's super, you got Sarah J. Maas, you have Cheryl Kenyon, and they're just destroying the marketplace because these ladies just know how to market the hell out of their books. But I am curious, are people taking advantage of that and labeling something romantasy when it's not romantasy? And how would I discern that as a reader who wants to only read romantasy?
I think a big part of it is the fantasy aspect, because a lot of readers, especially in this day and age, confuse paranormal, or they interchange paranormal and fantasy as far as terminology. And so a lot of people, you see recommendation requests on Facebook or wherever, and they're like, oh, I want recommendations for a fantasy book. And then they go to explain something that's in a modern setting. So it's like, okay, well, you want urban fantasy or you want paranormal. You're not really looking for fantasy romantasy if that's your case, and but from the marketing aspect, my book Wolf's Dominion and the sequel Panther's Reign, they have been weirdly easy to market. I almost don't, because they're consistently one of my top books in every month as far as page reads go. And it's like, I don't know what if the rest of my books back here could do that, without me having to do much of anything, that'd be great. But it doesn't work that way. So somehow the word's getting out there, and I'm grateful for it. But I honestly, I don't know what I'm doing beyond just having some cool covers and people finding them.
I think some of what trickles down that makes it hard is that you have your traditionally published romantasy like Sarah J. Maas and, Sherry Lynn Kenyon and all that. And so because they have such a wider audience and, a lot of readers, obviously, then when readers finish those traditionally published books and they want to come, into the indie, circuit and read similar books, they don't realize, I think, sometimes that even within the romantasy genre, there is so much variation. So kind of like AJ said, where it's like, you have a series that maybe touches on more of the fantasy aspect, but your book still might have, tropes or influences from other genres that other people may not consider romantasy because they're not as widely, well known. And then you have the issue sometimes, I think, too, where Amazon likes to put things into categories, whether you want them to go there or not. And I've had that happen a couple times with Monsters of Ashwood, which is not a romantasy. And it has ended up in romantasy quite a few times. And I'm like, no. So I think some of that is definitely driven by, traditional publishing as well. And then on the indie side, obviously, like I said, there is a little bit more of a wider net and a lot more room to play. So.
Does that frustrate you, Em, as someone who has said, you had some issues with marketing this, how to market it? Does it frustrate you that people are taking advantage of a name and not actually following the trope?
A little bit, yeah. And I feel like sometimes I have to, especially when you're talking about the labels that they use on Amazon, I almost feel like you have to cast your net a little bit wider because of that. Like sometimes you have to put down paranormal because people are lumping it all in together. And it makes it hard, like if you want to do like an ad or something like that.
Yeah.
You want to make sure those are super targeted. And when you can't do that, it is really frustrating. Yeah.
I think it also, it makes it a little harder because romantasy, the word itself, is a newer term, even though the genre may have existed for quite some time now. So I think because Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, don't have romantasy listed as one of their categories you can put something in. I think they're that's kind of making it a little harder too.
I get put into romance with my elements because the title's called Destiny and Desire, and for some reason it gets lumped in with romance, and there's really not. I mean, there's a small romance plot, but it has nothing to do with fantasy romance at all.
And it's kind of like a really bad romance plot, to be honest. I mean, it's temptation, right? It's like one of those things that's being used in an evil purpose. But
yeah, and so like I'm constantly having to change it out of there, writing to Amazon and saying it's not romance. Like no, please don't. I don't want people to read it and think it's a romance and be like, this author doesn't know what she's doing, because it has like nothing to do with the romance. So I felt bad if somebody like would read it and it was marketed as romance and, taking advantage of people who want that, romance in the story, and they sit there and read, 380 pages and be like, where's the romance, And so I have to make sure that I go and always update my keywords and stuff so it's not lumped in with romance.
Yeah.
I was reading about this a little bit for this conversation, and I was surprised to find that the average age of a person that reads romantasy is between 30 and 40, and that men made up 12% of the romantasy readership. That was interesting to me. What do you all think about that?
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. When I was a teenager in high school, I was reading the Mercedes Lackey Heralds of Valdemar series, and there's a lot of that's basically romantasy.
Yeah.
It's romantasy before romantasy existed as a term again, and there's all kinds of different relationship dynamics in there, and all kinds of different ways they make it to their happily ever after in this fantasy setting. And I think because my age group, I'm in 45 here, my age group grew up on those books. I think that is probably why some of that age group, and there were some gay couples in there, so there was some stuff for the men too.
Yeah.
It wasn't all just lovey-dovey girly stuff, and there was fighting, and I think that's also part of what makes it interesting for the men, possibly. I don't know. is because there's action included in it. It's not just a sweetsy little romance. There's something for them in with the romance.
And it's not just the men fighting for the women, which is typical fantasy back in, that age group. It's women, badass women too, fighting, and believe it or not, I will speak for men on this. We like that. So,
They want to be the distress.
And I wasn't. I just want to make it clear. I wasn't calling anybody out to reveal their age. I just wanted.
I have patients in my day job who are like, "You're like what, 20 something?" I'm like,
"Be like, thank you. Yes, I am eternally 29." Like, it's fine.
That's what I tell people because I'm the same age as you are. So I'm 45, and I still read my romantasy. I mean, I probably will until the day I die, just because it's it's a good read.
Yeah, and you also got to figure a lot of that people in that age group. The Lord of the Rings series came out in theaters in a formative age.
Yeah,
I mean, and who didn't swoon a little bit with Aragorn and Arwen?
Damn it, Tolkien even had a romantasy angle. God dang.
Yeah.
It
was a subplot, but it was there.
This guy, I swear.
I think it's always refreshing and it's always good, right? Especially when you have like some of these genres like romantasy that tend to mash things up, right? Because I am generally a genre masher. That's just like what I do. Like naturally, I just put things together and I'm like, what if we took this? What if we took this? And we made a cookie out of it. So I think that when you do that too, it's obviously you have a different reach because you're reaching, across the pond, so to speak, so you're reaching the fantasy readers, you're reaching the romance readers. And anytime you're reaching a new audience and bringing somebody into, that book or that genre and exposing them to something else, I can't see that as a bad thing. You know what I mean? That's great. So.
Do you all feel like there's a responsibility though, knowing that stat to kind of introduce those folks to something unique and different, like a male to male romantasy or something to that effect, where they've not necessarily not have picked it up, but because they're a fan of romantasy, they're going to try it, right? And do you feel like that's the moment, that's the opening that you need to kind of go, hey, I'm going to throw something really weird and interesting at you and see how you like it?
I think mood writer. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think as a writer, I think we all feel like we're kind of responsible of showing something new to the reader. And I mean, that is one of the whole reasons why I started writing, is because I wanted to give a different perspective of, what was already out there. Again, with romance, it's always a happy ending. I like to give the sadder endings with, romance, it doesn't necessarily always have to be the, same-sex couple, or even, I mean, I don't do the interspecies romance. I just can't write that. I just right. It doesn't have to be the same-sex couple. And I think as writers, it's our responsibility to give a story that we think that people without voices need to hear.
Yeah, don't read AJ's series, the Gods and Monsters. Is that what it's called? With the entangled species and
oh, you're talking about irresistible monstrosities. Yeah.
Love that book.
Okay, you'll have to message me afterwards and tell me the name, and I'll read it. But I can't. For my mindset, I can't write that. Not that I wouldn't read it, but I can't write it.
It'll knock your socks off right off the bat.
So good.
Anybody else want to speak to that? I mean, I know I get it. We all want to challenge ourselves. We all want to challenge our audience. We want to put stuff out there that's unique and different. But hearing those stats, does that make you comforted that you don't feel as alone maybe doing that, because there are people out there who want to read that stuff, right? So
I don't think I ever felt alone when I wrote my romantasy book, because there are romantasies out there. Like Sarah J. Maas is huge right now. So yeah, my books aren't as thick as hers. The world building isn't probably as vast because I've just got a little duet, but it's I enjoy knowing that there's a market out there for it, even if I haven't necessarily found the biggest way into the market yet. I mean, it's out there. It's something that people can enjoy and do enjoy. It's just a matter of finding those people, which can be tough. But I think knowing that it's become a bigger genre now, I think that helps feel a little more secure in being able to write more of it. I plan on writing another romantasy duet later. I've already got the covers for it. Just haven't gotten the muse to kick her tail into gear with it yet. But I plan on writing a reverse harem romantasy later on sometime. Who knows, 26, 25. I don't know. We'll see where she takes me.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in?
I was gonna say, yeah, I definitely think, with romantasy being as big of a genre as it is, and with it being as fluid as it is, there's definitely a lot of room for experimentation. And when there's a lot of room for experimentation, sometimes there's a lot of room for, new readers or new audiences, cross it, bring a little bit of paranormal into your romantasy, or bring a little bit of sci-fi into your romantasy, that sort of thing. And like AJ, I have plans to write another romantasy as well, a romantasy reverse harem. Actually, the book that I queried Berkeley for is a romantasy reverse harem. So, which I have not heard back. So, Berkeley, if you're watching, call me.
Nice. CL Cannon, you guys want to chime in a little bit?
Where's your buffering sign?
I think
yeah, I didn't have time to make it.
I write whatever of course I write for different people and I consider different voices, but I just write what makes me happy and hope that it makes other people happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that I put quite as much thought into that, but just the things that make me happy. Also, I know that they're, because of the things that I enjoy, I know that they're going to probably be enjoyed by other people. I guess I don't know how to.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because we're all readers at heart, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you write what you love to read. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did. I wrote the books that I wanted to read because was having a hard time finding something,
Awesome. All right. Well, I always get a little bit nervous because the creator of this segment is sitting right below me there, and by no means is she below me at all. She should be above me with this. But I jumped into the indie connection by doing the film portion of our connecting, and today I'm connecting you to movies you might enjoy if you're a fan of The Princess Bride. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me on another Indie Film Connection. I am, of course, Joe Compton, and for this Indie Film Connection, I have indie films you might enjoy if you're a fan of The Princess Bride, written and directed by Rob Reiner. The first indie film I have for you is called The Princess and the Warrior. It is a film made by Tom Twyker. They met for the first time after a horrible accident underneath a truck. Bodo saves Sissy's life, which is literally hanging by a thread, but then disappears without a trace. Obsessed by the incident, Sissy sets out on a mission to find the mysterious stranger and discover whether their paths cross through simple blind chance or the intricate mechanisms of destiny itself. This film is available for free on the Roku channel, and if you don't have the Roku channel, you can purchase it on YouTube or Prime Video. The next movie I have for you is a movie that I reviewed earlier this year on our blog at freshbutteredpopcorn.com. It is Wild-Eyed and Wicked by Gordon Schumacher Foxwood. Wild-Eyed and Wicked follows Lily Pierce in her attempt to strike back at the medieval creature that haunted her family for generations. She must reconnect with her estranged father, Gregory, a disgraced history professor, and learn how to draw upon a time of steel and blade when armor-clad knights rode out and dueled monsters to the death. Lily's therapist and girlfriend attempt to help Lily navigate the childhood loss of her mother, Sylvia. They encourage Lily on the anniversary of her mother's death to accept her father's invitation to visit him on the farm where Lily grew up and confront this monster once and for all. This movie is only available exclusively on Paramount Plus, which you can get a free trial on basically any streaming service to watch it. The next indie film I have for you will be appearing on our Fresh Buttered Popcorn blog very soon. It is 1521, a film by Michael Copon. A woman experiences a dream depicting what is implied to be a flashback from her previous life, in which she wakes up in pre-Spanish era Philippines against the backdrop of an epic battle of Mactan in 1521 between Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan and local ruler Datu Lapu-Lapu. While Huban is willing to accommodate the Spaniards in hopes of increased prosperity, a young beautiful native princess falls in love with a handsome Spanish soldier. As Lapu-Lapu, the ruler of the neighboring island of Mactan, refuses to accept their loss of independence, and against all odds and being pulled apart, the two lovers' loyalties to their own people, they fight for their clandestine romance. This film is available to watch free on Tubi right now, and you can also purchase it over at Amazon Prime Video. And finally, the last indie film I have for you is called The Green Knight, a film by David Lowery. On Christmas morning, Gawain is awakened in a brothel by his lover, a common woman named Asil. He returns to the king's court where he is scolded by his mother. Gawain attends a feast at the round table with his uncle, King Arthur, who invites Gawain to sit to his right hand, though he has yet to acquire a story to tell of himself, the mark of a true knight. Elsewhere, in a tower, Gawain's mother performs a magic rite that summons the mysterious Green Knight. He barges into the king's court and states that any knight who lands a blow on him will win the green axe, but must travel to the Green Chapel and receive an equal blow in return on the following Christmas. Gawain takes up the challenge, and the king stresses to Gawain that this is only a game. The knight yields, and Gawain, now uncertain as to the nature of this game, but wielding the king's sword, decapitates him. The knight rises, retrieves his severed head, repeats the requisite date to Gawain, and rides away laughing. Now, Gawain must find the Green Knight within a year to take a fatal blow. Along the way, he faces a tough test and dilemmas to honor his duty as knight or follow his heart. This movie is free to watch on Amazon Prime and to purchase over on YouTube. That's all for this Indie Film Connection. We'll see you again next time. Bye, everybody. There you go. I hope you enjoy those films. If you're a fan of Princess Bride, I think you will, especially the last one, because there is an actual reference to the Princess Bride in The Green Knight, and I'd love for you to come back and tell me if you watched that film, what that reference is. I will not spoil it for you, but there is an actual reference to the Princess Bride in that movie. And I love the Princess Bride. Good. Well, I hope you love those movies as well, because they're fantastic. I'm just honored to be able to do that, and we're going to be doing more of that in 2025 because Miss Cannon deserves a week off every now and again, and so I'm happy to do that, to make that happen. So thank you for that opportunity, Courtney, and thank you everybody for indulging me there. All right, okay, so I want to know, to kind of round out the conversation before I torture you into trying to guess who I am, literary, character-wise. What is missing from Romantasy right now? What do you think Romantasy needs to kind of get to that next level? Because right now, it's a cute little trope, right? It's a cute little...
Thank you.
It's a cute little niche. It's kind of... and it's got a little bit of momentum. So is there something that's missing that could help keep it going?
For me, I'm probably just going to have to say some more male-male couples, some more female-female couples. So I tend to kind of
Kick the door all the way down.
yeah. More reverse harem couples, all the good stuff.
Couples, quads, however many.
Yeah.
I would probably say that there's probably not, other than, maybe diverse couples, but I bet if you digged into Amazon, there's probably tons of them out there. It is, like I said, it's such a wide net that, it's hard to capture them all in just like one, one search. You really have to dig deep for them. Of course, I want more dark, romantasies, because that's just what I like to read. But if I did really deep, I could probably find some, and maybe, depending on your heat level, what you like, more spicy the better type things.
So what Tiffany's saying is we need a directory. That's what it's missing.
Yeah.
We need subgenres of the subgenre.
we need something called like something like, I don't know, the Indie Connection maybe, or something like that. But anyway.
I've done some romantasies. There's some in there if you look in the archives.
I don't know if they're all, if any of them were dark ending romantasies, but yeah, there
are some, because it's from all of my books that I do on the Indie Connection are for my personal collection. So, so there's plenty.
How about for you, Em? What's missing?
Said categorization.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm autistic, so there's a certain again, it's been hard for me to find things that I like to read because I'm a very picky reader. I am like the queen of DNFing a book. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not doing it for me. So for me, I as a reader, I would like to see it, easier to find specific things that you're looking for. But otherwise, there's so much, like they were saying, like if you hop online, like I'm sure this is part of how Amy's duet does so well, because there was a period of time like a few months back where everyone was like, where is all the lesbian romance?
Yeah.
There's people saying that there's not enough of it, but there is a lot of it. It's just hard to find.
Is there something we can do? Obviously talking about them and stuff like that, and the Indie Connection is also a good help in that respect. But is there something you think you can do to kind of make that more of a forefront? Do you think that I don't know, because there's a ton of romantasy groups out there. I just went through like 500 of them today, and I didn't find any that were niche, right? Like queer, romantic groups and stuff like that. Do you think that that makes it too niche, or do you think that is something that should be there because there's enough people who want to find those books?
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Do you
Yeah.
kind of understand?
I think that it's something that, and it doesn't even depend whether you're straight or not. Like, I would love to read, male romantasy or female romantasy, and sometimes you're just in that mood and you want to read it. So it definitely should niche down so you can find what you're in the mood for when you want to read it. And that's like a missed opportunity for all those that write that genre to get readers.
And I think that's what makes the groups, at least the ones that I'm in on Facebook, so beneficial, because you will have someone come in with the most out there request and like hyper specific, and you got like 50 responses of this is the exact trope set you're looking for right here, and they're all different. And it's like, I don't know, I don't even know how they do that, because like these people have their own little categorization in their heads, they're like, oh, hold on, let me get you links for like 7 different books that are exactly what you're looking for. And it's like, I can't even like like I can't even think of like one book. If someone asked me a direct question, I'm like, this beautiful person out, out here in Facebook land who's like, yeah, I want romantasy, and I want there to be a dragon or 7, and I want one of them to have green eyes. And
and be lactose intolerant. They'll be like, yeah, here you go.
Intolerant green dragon out there somewhere right now, and you post in one of these books, someone will find it for you.
That is the great thing about the reader community, though, is that so many people will come together. You can ask anything on these groups. I do a lot of stuff on Reddit, and there are some queer fantasy Facebook groups, maybe not specifically romantasy, but you can go into any of those groups and ask for, like they said, anything that you want, and there's like 10 people that are going to help you. And I often use that when I'm doing the indie connection. I will ask if I'm having trouble trying to find an indie book that meets a certain criteria. I'll go on there and I'll list the tropes, and I'll list what the book is, and I'll have a lot of people just tell me, okay, you should check out this one and this one and this one. And I just think it's great that the community is that helpful to each other, I guess.
So romantasy sounds like you all believe that romantasy is here to stay. Do you think romance evolves out of this into, like, I don't know. Okay, forgive me, these are just off the top of my head. Horror-mance, horror romance, or sci-rom or rom-fi, for science fiction, something to that effect. Do you, or is that already existing? It's just not getting the love that romantasy is getting.
It's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's already there.
There's already horror romance. There's already sci-fi romance, fantasy romance. I mean, there's all kinds of romance. I've got sci-fi romance right behind me in the shelf here with my Zelenite Mates books. They're alien, Like,
and they are great, by the way. Fan over here, so.
They just don't have a catchy buzzword. That's all.
Yeah.
Sandra says that's where she finds her books in the Facebook groups. So,
And I feel like, in a sense, when you think about like the evolution of romance in how it kind of has bled into other genres, I feel like romantasy was the last one to catch up, because sci-fi romance has been around. Like I've been reading like alien romance for like way longer than I probably should admit.
Well, I mean,
but so.
I mean, it didn't do it in the first movie, but Star Wars, the gradual Leia on.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like romantasy was in a sense, one of the last ones to catch up, even though it is quite probably bigger than maybe like the other ones too.
And I would even argue that there's interspecial. I'm sorry.
I think that's probably why it's so popular right now, is because it is the last one that kind of caught on. I mean, we've had like even video games have sci-fi romance in them, like Mass Effect, where you can romance certain people, and
even go into the horror with The Last of Us, so
so it's been around. Those have been around for quite some time, but I think romantasy just caught on, and that's why we hear it all the time, and it's in a couple of years we won't hear it, but it'll still be around, and something new will be the hot piece of
mashup.
Romance. It would be romantasy plus sci-fi or something,
And Ariel will have a book.
I probably will.
Awesome. All right. So I was going to mention that even in sci-fi, there's interspecial romance, because I really feel like the only way the Alien franchise could evolve was Ripley loving the alien, right? That was So, but anyway, all right. That's just me being stupid. Sorry, everybody.
Well, clearly you didn't see all the Facebook groups that I was in the Monster Romance when this last alien movie came out. So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, my head would probably pop off if I.
And I'm terrified of that, so I was like, no, I can't look at that.
All right, so we have a couple. We have someone new in here. I think everybody else has played before. We're going to do the epilogue here, and it's essentially game of 20 questions. Yes or no questions. You all get one guess only. If you use your guess and you don't get it right, you can't guess again. You can use the guess as a question, but then you're taking up a question. So keep that in mind. And how I always like to start this is I'm going to just go down the row and let each of you ask one question, and then it'll be free for all, and you guys can ask as many questions you want. I am a literary character, so get that into your mind. But otherwise, I'll leave it up to you to figure the rest of it out. So, Tiffany, if you want to start us off with your questions, and then we'll just go. I'll go Tiffany, M, Ariel, AJ, Courtney, and then everybody can just jump in.
Okay. Are you a male?
Yes.
Okay. Was your book made into a movie?
Yes. Oh, you skipped M. M.
I don't know. I haven't thought of
I
a
thought you said
question yet.
Tiffany.
I haven't thought of a question yet.
Okay. Well, when you do, just let us know.
Okay.
AJ.
Was the movie within the last 10 years? To the Google.
A version of it was, yes.
I'm so bad at this game. Are you a good character or a bad character? Are you an antagonist or a protagonist?
Yes or no?
Oh shoot. Okay. Are you a bad character? Like an antagonist?
Some people would say yes. Some people would say no.
Do you have some kind of superpower or magic?
Not in the traditional sense of the word, but for some reason I have quite a Kavorka over many people.
Are you the main character in the movie?
Yeah, I guess it depends on who you ask, but yes. It's not just a movie, everybody. It's a book too, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is the book by Stephen King?
No.
Okay.
Are you Paul Atreides?
No.
That's my guess.
I was already Paul Atreides earlier in the season.
My memory is like this long, so.
Again, this is so riveting for the audience. I'm sure.
I'm just thinking how I want to phrase my question.
People cosplay as you.
Oh yeah. Not recently, but yes.
Would the book be considered young adult?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have an animal companion?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I would say no.
Okay.
I mean, I might have a dog. I don't know.
I might have a dog.
I don't know how. I don't know how deep. I mean, it has no relevance on the character. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
At least I don't think it does. I mean, I haven't read this book in a long time, but I would think that it would have no idea. It would not sway you from guessing who I am each in any way.
Was the book published after 2000?
No.
Okay, so I guess I have an idea.
Is there multiple books?
Yes.
I thought I knew who it was, but then I got thrown off.
Yeah, same. Does the character?
Okay, let me rephrase. Let me retrace here. For the purpose of the character I am, I appeared in one book. I think. I'm not sure if I appeared in other, but I was the main focus of this book.
Okay.
So just concentrate on that.
Does the character carry a weapon?
Yes. You're at 11 questions, y'all.
See, I have better questions today, but no better answer, no better guesses. Like,
I know. I mean, I have 5 romance authors here. None of you have asked me a romance question whatsoever. Kind of weird. Because I guarantee you start asking me romance questions, you'll get who I am.
is there a love triangle? No, that's not a yes or no. Well, that is a yes or no question.
Yes.
Okay.
Is your love interest a female?
Yes. We have 7 more questions. You can just see them, their brains all just churning and churning.
Well, see, it's the young adult that's throwing me. You said it was young.
I mean, it wouldn't be labeled young adult, but I guarantee you, at 14 years old, when you read this was something you wanted to read.
Okay.
Oh my. There's shiny vampires in it.
I was
That was going to be my next guess.
Games and trials. Are there
I'm sorry?
games and trials in the story?
Yes.
Are you
Do you
Peter
end
Millar?
up-
I'm sorry. Who
What
was?
was your- You go ahead, Tim.
I was going to ask, do you end up with your love interest?
Yes. I want to say yes. I don't remember the ending, to be honest with you. You'll have to tell me at the end of this. I think yes. I think yes.
Now, what
May
did
not
you-
be the love interest, though. Maybe the other person. I don't remember.
Oh my God. This is so difficult.
I know you're all going to kick yourselves when you know the answer. Because you're getting close. You've got 3 more questions. Now they're Googling everybody.
Amy, I think you should ask it.
I can. I've already guessed.
Oh, you guessed. Is it PETA from the Hunger Games?
No.
Okay, then I guess.
That's what I was thinking.
But he was in all of the.
I was thinking
he
it
was
too.
in all of the
so-
books, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd want to guess somebody from Divergent because that's the only other one I could think of that was books and movies. But I don't know any of the
You
characters.
guys are so
I never-
far off of you. So far. I'll give you this. You're so far off of. the
Oh my
world.
gosh.
It is. You go way further back. Go way further back.
Further back.
Don't think it, like I said, it wasn't young adult, labeled young adult because there was no such thing when this book came out. But I guarantee you, at 14 years old, you all read it.
I love the evolution of genres. Young adult wasn't a thing, now it's a thing. Romantasy wasn't a thing, now it's a thing. You know what I mean? It's just fun.
Which is this book I would label as both of those things. Actually, I mean the fantasy element very very faint in this, obviously, but actually, no, it wouldn't be romantasy. Actually, sorry, never mind.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what kind of romantic questions to even ask at this point.
All right. Do you all
All right,
want to give
somebody-
a guess before? Do you got two? You got 2 more questions, or do you want to just give a guess and stop being tortured?
I guess can put myself out of my misery.
I don't have any guesses. I have no idea.
You know what this is?
All right. So I have so then I will ask a question, and then you will all know the answer to who I am. And when I ask this question, but I win. Just to be clear. Miss C.L. Cannon, what is your
Yeah.
favorite book of all time?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh no, I thought it was. Oh, so I was wrong.
So he doesn't
He's like,
win.
well,
Huh.
that backfired.
I thought it was Pride and Prejudice.
I love Jane Austen, but
Mr. Darcy.
Oh.
I actually never read that.
multiple adaptations.
That's my favorite book of all times. So, like,
I've
I
never
should
read
have
that.
that.
Or watched
I like
any movies.
Persuasion.
Does he end up with her at the end? I don't remember.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
like, I don't know.
I thought maybe that was the one
Oh
where
my god! Now I'm like,
I was thinking that was the one where they switched partners or whatever, but maybe that's
No.
that's like Dangerous Liaisons or something like that. I think that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, I'm Mr. Darcy.
oh.
And he's just as frustrating as Mr. Darcy.
Yes, I am.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But I was for sure going, there's no way that they can't. I mean, you had just stayed on the romantic and maybe even gone a little bit. I think you guys were all thinking way ahead. Like you guys all got on this
way modern.
YA.
Yeah, I was
aspect
thinking
of
way
it.
modern.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I don't know that I would do. So the challenge with this from my end of the game is that I have to figure out something that you would all have known, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going too modern, I mean, yeah, I could probably have done Pippa. I could have probably done a bunch of ones that are modern, but I don't want to like say that and then you not. I've never read The Hunger Games. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my challenge, but. I would think that every fucking person knows Jane Austen, right? So that's why I went that route. So
I don't know why, but for the longest time, I thought you were talking about the Goblin King. I was like,
my god, right?
Speaking the Labyrinth, I'm like, nope.
it's a good one, though. I'm gonna keep that one in the back pocket for maybe 2025. But all right, so let's have everybody say where they're from, where they can find these wonderful romantasy books of yours and everything that you're doing. We'll just go the opposite direction. So Ariel, start us off, please.
All right, Marielle Dawn. I am pretty much everywhere that you can find books. Amazon. I have stuff that's wide. Barnes & Noble. You can find most of my books at arieldawn.com. And I am also on all your social media. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Threads. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky. I am pretty much wherever, usually as Ariel Dawn or author Ariel Dawn. So
awesome. AJ?
I'm AJ Mulligan. You can find me at ajmulligan.com or ajmulligan.com/author has all my media links on the buttons there. You just click and follow me along. You can find my books on ajmulligan.com or on Amazon. Most of my stuff is in Kindle Unlimited, so it is not wide for the most part. And as the little caption there says, I write smut, so enjoy.
All right, nice. All right, Courtney?
Hey, you can find all of my stuff at my websites that I can never point to, so I'm just going to use both hands. I am on all social media except for Snapchat, which I will never join, and I'm not on Twitter anymore, even though I've still got an account just for archive purposes. I am now over on Blue Sky, and if you want to get started on Blue Sky, I did a segment on the Late Night News on Friday that you can check out to figure out how to get started on Blue Sky. It's amazing over there, and you should try it. There's lots of romantasy authors over there, and I'm building a starter pack of romantasy authors, which I'll probably add all of the guests here today to. So go check it out.
Thank you for cross-promoting. I appreciate it tremendously. All right, Em?
You can find my books on bookshop.org or Amazon. Audiobooks are on Audible and iTunes. I'm on all the social media platforms I could find. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I think that's it. There's so many. But you can find me as M, like EM Rees. It's usually my screen name.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming and joining us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Tiffany?
Hi, you can find me at Outsider Publishing Company and booksbytiffanyvega.com. We are on all social medias except for Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. So Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, all that, Threads, everything. And I highly suggest following CL Cannon's Blue Sky newbie pack because I did it and it worked wonders. I love it.
And you got a new book. Hello. Tell everybody about the book.
I'm sorry. I do have a new book that just came out on the 29th. It is a short story collection, or it's an anthology of Christmas horror themed stories. And there are some really great authors that contribute to this, and you guys should check it out. My personal story in there is called The Greed Within, and it is just a story about greed and Christmas. And
What's the name of the book?
Oh, it's called Christmas Chaos. a tale of holiday terror, and you can find it on Amazon. And if you're a Kindle Unlimited person, you can find it on KU as well. Sorry, Joe, my brain is fried.
It's all good. It's all good. I got your back. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is Go Indie Now. If you found us for the first time, thank you very much. Congratulations, you have found us. Do everything that helps us get more seen by everybody else out there, which is by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our channel. We have wonderful, wonderful shows going on throughout the week. Tomorrow night, I sit down with the wonderful Bobby Nash for an hour. If you don't know who Bobby Nash is, strap in because it's going to be an awesome conversation. Bobby is the one person who has done the 21 grams every single season that we've had it. AJ was close. AJ's done 4 of the 5, but Bobby is the one who's done them all, and so we never run out of things to talk about. And tomorrow night, I have a real good angle I'm going to approach about mysteries and investigations and things like that, because Bobby's really, really keen on that. So you want to check that out if you're interested in that. Also, following me later on in the evening, our own AF Stewart will be the guest on A Conversation in Cocktail with Vanessa Junta. And if you've never seen A Conversation in Cocktail, you're in for a treat, because Vanessa just loves talking to artists about their art, and it usually goes off in a weird tangent. Like when I appeared, we talked about ice cream and my favorite ice cream flavor, which I will not repeat. You'll have to go watch the show. But it's a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And it's a really great show. And we have that for you on Monday. And then Tuesday night, we have First Time for Everything. It is Juliet Rose, her show, talking about the first time that you encounter things, and then the conversation evolves from there. It is Brian Grover who is going to be the guest, and then for Thursday is the season finale with one of our guests today, Miss CL Cannon, who will be joining Juliet on Thursday for the season finale there. All right, I think I covered most of it. There's a lot more going on. Obviously, we have a lot going on all the time at Go Indie Now, because it is always time to go indie now. And with that, we'll see you again soon, everybody. Bye.